Alright, in today's video, we are going to demo how to enable SSH server on Windows. Specifically, it is Windows Server 2022, 2019, and then Windows 11 and Windows 10. As we know, when we interacting with Linux operating system, we typically is going to use SSH, SSH, SCP, SFTP to log on the server for file transfer, or we can use a WinSCP. So all it is a security shell. Okay. So the reason we can interact with Linux because there's a security SSH servers running on the Linux. Okay, so that, for example, if I sit in front of my laptop, I can use SSH log on to a Linux. So the same thing we can do from one Windows box to another Windows box through the SSH. Basically, we also, as long as we have SSH server running on this Windows server, we can do the similar thing. Similar like, in the PowerShell remoting, you need to have like the remote service running on the Windows server. Okay, let's get started. So in this demo, I have 3 servers. I'm going to log on to the laptop. It is Windows 11. I'm going to first to show log on to the Linux through the SSH. And then we're going to set up the SSH shell on the Windows Server 2022 box. Okay, let me start with a command window. So I'm going to use the, but it doesn't matter. I just run as an administrator because in this way, it will land it to the Windows System 32. If you cd to the OpenSSH folder, you will see this command like sh scp, sstp, this so on and so forth. All this command is a SSH shell client. That is by default the Microsoft enabled. It's called SSH client. Okay, SSH client. And later we're gonna see on the server side to enable the SSH server. Okay, so let me bring back this window. So the server, in this case, the server name is, I'm going to reuse the server name called DC1. Okay, so I'm going to first, I'm going to RDP to that server, use remote desktop. Okay, so let's log on to that server. So for this, my laptop, if we use the Win version, you will see my laptop is running Windows 11. Okay, and the remote server is DC1, the name, okay, server name, machine name. Before we enable this SSH server on Windows, let me bring up the Microsoft document. Okay, so here's the Google page. So we're going to do a search, basically anything like that. I'm going to just search enable SSH server on Windows. Okay, so I'm going to do a search. So the first one, it is Microsoft website. It's called Get Started with OpenSSH. Basically, Microsoft ports this OpenSSH to its Windows system. Okay, by default for the Windows 10, 11. I mean, Windows 10 is probably the some newer version of Windows 10 are released. If you scroll down, you can see people also have a similar some articles. So how to enable shell to 2019, how to enable OpenSSH server on Windows 10, and so on and so forth. Okay, so in today's example, we're gonna enable 2002 and 2022. Okay, so let me start with this document. So we open this document. It says this document is supplied to Windows Server 2022, Windows Server 2019, and Windows 10 build 1809 and later, including Windows 11. All right. So, and to enable the OpenSSH using Windows, we can use the Windows using the Windows setting. We can also use the PowerShell, but for simplicity, we're going to just use the Windows setting GUI to do it. Okay. By default, this OpenSSH client is already enabled, so we don't need to do it. We only need to enable the OpenSSH server. Also, here's a note. I said after you install or enable OpenSSH server, we'll create a firewall rule like this. It will allow the SS traffic while port 22. Okay, so we will find out because to communicate, you have to open the port, okay, or disable the firewall. So let's go back our laptop, okay. So I'm gonna return to my laptop session. This is the let me minimize the window. So this is the laptop we're going to start with. From this laptop, so I'm going to first RDP to that remote server, okay? So it's going to be ms-tsc -v. The remote server name is called DC1, so I'm going to use. So then I enter my password. So now I'm in the remote Windows 2022 server, okay? On this server, let's check the server, okay? Same thing, I'm gonna open a CMD window, run as administrator. And here, let's see, check our Windows version. So this is the Windows Server 2022, okay? And if we cd to the OpenSSH, see, you can see on this server, the SSH client is enabled by default. Okay, we can confirm from the setting. Okay, let's go to startup and go to the setting. Okay, this is the settings. From the settings, let's go to the application, apps, and the features, optional features. From optional features, this is the default. Okay. So this is whatever being enabled by default. But you can hear by default this OpenSSH client is already enabled, okay, by out of box, okay. And the things we need to install it is the OpenSSH server. So let's see add a feature. So I'm gonna just click add a feature. So let's scroll down and to find the one we would like to enable. Okay. So the one we're gonna want to enable is called OpenSSH server. So we check this box and complete and click on the install. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead to click the install. So the install is going to start it. So while it is doing the install, let's look at the services. Okay. So I'm going to open the services. So the services, let's see if we see a service called OpenSSH. Okay. Let's see. Oh, we don't have yet. We have a called OpenSSH authentication agent. There's something else. So let's see how the installation is going. Okay. Let me minimize this window. This server is a little bit slow. Oh, it's installed. Okay. Let's do a refresh. All right. You see here, you already see a new service was created. It's called the OpenSSH server. Okay. OpenSSH SSH server. So let's start it. Okay. So we're gonna start this server. This can be done by PowerShell. Okay. But in this demo, we're gonna use the setting and also through this services GUI, so it's more clear. So what exactly we are doing. Okay. Also, we're gonna make it automatic. If you restart your server, this OpenSSH server is going to restart. Okay, so we're gonna make it automatic. Apply. Okay. All right. So the OpenSSH server is started. Okay. So now if we return to our Windows 11 box, the laptop, we should be able to connect to this DC1 server. Okay. Before we do that, let's confirm the OpenSSH shell. It's the port is open. It's started. Okay. If we do a net stat, and you will see the port 22 should be listening. You see this port 92 is listening. Net is for the SSH port. Okay. So let's see. We're gonna exit, close those windows. Now we're gonna leave this DC1 server. We're gonna sign out. So now we return to this. So now we are here. Okay. We're going to establish a SSH from this laptop to the Windows server, because now the SSH server service is running. Okay. They will accept the connection. So let's do it. So we're gonna use. I'm just go to any directories. So the syntax is going to be SSH and the username. So in my case, I'm going to use my domain name is a AD user. It's called DDA myself, and the remote server name is DC1. Okay. So because this is the first time to connect, so they will ask to to for the fingerprint for this remote server. Okay, then it is prompt to the password. So I'm going to enter my password. Now I'm in the remote Linux, not Linux, Linux environment. You see here is my domain name, username. This is the server name. If I type host name, you see I'm inside this remote, the similar like RDP, okay, remote desktop. So in this environment, you can do from lots of command line, okay. From this, you can see I'm going to go to the C drive, right? So let's see. So all these things is going to be on the server side, and if I exit, I'm return to my local on the Windows 11, my laptop. Okay, host name. So you see, with the SS shell server, so we can interact with Windows box. It's very similar to we interact with a Linux box. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna do the same thing. In this case, let's see. I'm going to interact with the Linux box. So in this case, the Linux box name is C81. Let me see if that server is up or not. Okay. Let me go to let me do a pin C81. Okay, that box is not up. Okay, so let me start that server up. Okay, give me a sec. All right, let's continue. Another server, the Linux server is up now. So I just did a pin. You see, I can pin that server. So I'm gonna remote to that server. Okay, so SSH DDA at CA1. That is the CentOS server. No, I password. Forgot the password. Give me a sec. So now I'm in the Linux server. So if I do a host name, you see C81. Let me run the LASB release. Okay, let's know this command. So let's do a cat etc release. So we will see it is CentOS Linux version 8. Okay, specific is 8.4. Okay, this is the Linux box, and so we can run the Linux command. For example, pwd ls and ps, pns-ef to show the process. Okay, so let me bring up the diagram. So now we demonstrate if we have the SSH server installed on Windows, we can use SSH, connect to this server. Similar, we connect to the Linux box and do lots of things. So at this point, I will point out in certain real world, we do have the this SSH server running on the Windows server to provide it SSH service, because SSH service using the SSH, it is security. It's more like standard security shell, and so it's not very popular, but in certain real world like enterprise environment, in certain situation, we do use this technology, okay, use SSH, including like a PowerShell remoting through the SSH, like that. So, all right, so we basically completed what we want to demonstrate. So here, I also want to point it out. So because the SSH, it doesn't matter if your client is Windows or Linux. As long as you have server running, you can always connect, okay? So in this case, if the firewall between this Windows and the Linux, it is open, so we can actually connect from the Linux to here, to the Windows server, and vice versa. If firewall open from this to here, we can connect this as well. All right. So regardless, if it's Windows or Linux, you can always do the, from Windows to Linux, Linux to Windows, vice versa. Okay. So let's do a demo. So in my case, the firewall was open between these two boxes. Okay. So we can do the same thing. Let's not this one. So I'm gonna return to my command window. And for example, right now I'm on the Linux box. So I'm gonna do a connection to DDA to that DC1. That is where the OpenSSH server is running. So you see, this is my first time to connect. They will ask the fingerprint. Okay. Oh, I've got a password again. Let me try just correct the password. So now you see I'm in, right? So I'm in the DC1. So you can run some basic command. There's no PWD. I think mainly you're going to run the a DOS command, the Windows command. Okay. Let's see what Windows command we can run. Let's see, we can run sc. You see, I can run sc query to see the services, and let's see, run a system info. Let's in system info. So it's pretty cool. Okay, that is certain system admin, especially if you're from the Linux background, I would love use those kind of technology. Okay, now I'm going to exit this session. So now we return to the Linux. Now exit and return to my laptop. Okay. Similar thing as I said. Let me access to the from the so now I'm going to from laptop access to this environment. Also, I see if I can access to this here. Okay. Let me go back here. So first, so I'm in the DC1. From DC1, I'm going to see SSH. See, I do have SSH. So SSH DDA at CentOS server. So first time. Oh no, it's not first time. Let's see. Oh, password is incorrect. Let me try to correct the password. Okay. Okay, now I'm in the DC1. Okay. So the SSH is pretty handy to to connect from one server to another very quickly, to perform certain task. And so that's the beauty of using the SSH to quickly log on to a server to for troubleshooting, for collecting data, and so on and so forth. Okay. So now let me exit this this session. Oh, let me return this session to another test, okay, just for fun. So now I'm in the Linux server. So I'm going to do a test from the Linux server to here, okay, to my laptop. So can I do it? So can I connect from my Linux laptop? So the answer is no, right? Why? Because I don't have the OpenSSH service running on this my laptop. If I enable this SSH server, similar like I just did on this server, so I can connect from Linux to my laptop using SSH shell as well, okay? So let's try SSH DDA at Win11. Oh, the Win11 doesn't know my IP address. Let's find out my IP address first before run the test. Okay, let me open another command window. Find out my IP. Okay, not my server IP. So the IP is this one. So I'm going to use this IP address. So let's see SSH DDA at. You see, it says connection refused because there's no service running on my laptop. If I enable the SSH, then we'll be able to connect from any other machine as long as the firewall is open. Okay. All right. I think that's uh, long enough to demonstrate the SSH. Okay, and also you can transfer a file using the SCP, between those boxes. It's very handy. All right, I'm gonna stop here now.